Hey everybody, welcome back to RC with Adam. My name is Adam. We're going to be taking a look at the brand new Radiomaster Zorro and just kind of giving my initial impressions of it. I don't usually do that, but I want to because I'm excited about this radio. And we'll do some size comparisons between the TX16S, TX12, and the good old Flysky FS-i6X, and talk a little bit about the protocols and that sort of thing. So if you're into that, let's get started. This one has been a long time coming. It's been on pre-order for a long time. And this is the ELRS version. And I'll talk about a silly thing about the version that I got in a moment. But I'm just going to talk about this as I unbox it. So you can see here, that's the ELRS version. Here's the back of the packaging in case you are into that. Let's pull it out here. And we're going to be doing a size comparison between the other transmitters that I have. And one of the reasons why I got this transmitter is because I was really getting sick of the giant form factor of the TX16S, which we will compare this to in just one moment. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it's actually a lot chunkier. It's way chunkier than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be quite small. Let's see, real quickly, some accessories. It comes with a screen protector. Looks like a USB to USB-C cable and a battery strap, or I think 2 battery straps, Velcro battery straps. And that is it for the accessories that this comes with. I did have to purchase batteries separately, and that is one of the criticisms about this that I've heard from other people, is just that the batteries, it's like, why didn't they just go with 18650s, which are super common? They went with these 18, what are they? Can't remember what they are, but smaller, like half-size batteries. The benefit that I could see is that you could use CR123 primary batteries, which are not rechargeable, but if you needed to do it like in an emergency or something. So anyway, this is not going to be a full review. There are plenty of those already out there. I just want to give you my impressions because I'm excited to finally get this and have it in my hands. So, okay. All right, so we've got the sticks. I'm just kind of getting a feel for it here. I don't usually fly with thumbs. I usually do kind of a hybrid pinching. So I do kind of a thumb on the top and then first fingers kind of on the front is usually how I fly. I'll have to try it out. I'll have to try it out and see where my fingers land. This is kind of obviously primarily made for people who fly with just their thumbs. We do have quite a few switches. Holy smokes, we have a lot of switches actually on here. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So 2 3-position switches, 2 2-position switches, a left and right momentary, and then we have these scroll wheels, which those might be nice. I mean, I don't know. Hooking those up to like a gimbal or something could be really cool. That could be super cool, actually, potentially. And then we have our antenna right here. If I can, which way does it pop up? Yeah, okay. We have our antenna. There we go. So we can pop that out if we want to put it upright like that. We have our ports right here. So we have an SD card, which does come with an SD card. That's kind of nice. So we have an SD card slot in here. 256 megabyte. Come on, man. What is this? 1990 or something? I don't know. And we've got a headphone jack and then some other kind of jack and a USB-C port right in there. Antenna port cover right here. So that's going to go down into here, into the transmitter. Oh, here's our bottom. I guess this is for battery charging, or we can plug a little 2-cell battery right into the bottom. Oh, there we go. We just lift up this cover right here, and it exposes our pins, and this would be for the smaller transmitter module. And then we have momentary buttons here and here. I'm not sure if, I don't know if I like momentary buttons that much. I don't know if I really have ever used them for almost anything, but anyway. And then we have some adjustment screws on the back, to access the adjustments for the sticks. At least that's what I understand. So here's the thing: when I hold this, I'm trying to figure out where to put my fingers so that I don't hit switches and things. Like, most comfortable would be to kind of choke up on it a little bit and fly like this. So these are 700 milliamp hour. So not as high of a capacity as I could have. So these batteries are made by Nitecore. They're 750 milliamp hour lithium ion batteries. The designation number is IMR18350, or we just call these 18350s usually. And these ones have a button head on the positive side, and then a flat negative side. Some of these are flat on both sides, and I did not get that one, those kind, because I'm pretty sure this one needs to be, I guess it doesn't really need to be either way. To be honest, I don't think it would make a difference. So we're gonna do positive on this side, like that. Put the cover back on. I've also heard that these covers pop off easily, accidentally. So I might need to fix this with a little bit of tape or something. Is this supposed to be? No, it's not fitting. Oh, okay. Hang on. So that needs to go in there, like, okay, that one's coming off. Yikes, all right. So that's, oh, you have to kind of squeeze it. Just kind of squeeze it as you push it forward. Okay. And then we've got this side, so we'll put the battery in.
Welcome to HTX. Switch warning.
Cool. All right. So let's go into like model. So we have all the info here. We've got a scroll wheel. Very loud beep. Part of the point of why I got this transmitter. Look at the size difference right here. Wowzers kabowzers. This Radiomaster TX16S that you see here, it's just gigantic, and I'm really getting sick of it. It's high quality. It's great quality, lots of options, tons of options. Like, I have not used, like, I don't know, 20% of what this radio can do because I don't need it. I just don't fly those types of models and stuff. And the gimbals feel really good, high quality. These are Hall effect gimbals. And this is usually how I would hold this thing as I'm flying. So I kind of have my fingers like all wrapped around the top. Kind of weird. But yeah, this thing is it's bulky and it's heavy, and I'm tired of having this thing, dangle around my neck and all that. So because I just don't need it. It's just way more than I need. And we'll look at weights in a minute, I think. So anyway, okay, size comparison. Take a look at that. That's a pretty big difference, I'd say. You can kind of see the difference in the sticks, the distance between the sticks right there. I think you can see that. Looks like we have about, the TX16S, we have right about 4 inches of distance between the sticks, or right about 100 millimeters. And on the Zorro, we have about 90 millimeters, or right about 3.5 inches. So they're about a ½ inch or 10 millimeters ish closer together. Let's take a look at sort of the thickness of everything. Big difference there. I mean, if you just look at these two. But anyway, so you see what's cool about this is that we don't have this giant screen, so that's the biggest thing that we lack. But we still have the scroll wheel on both of these. We've got the model button, we've got the system button, return, page forward, page backward, and telemetry. All the same buttons. We have trim switches for both sticks up in all directions. We have several momentary switches. I'm getting off on a tangent. There's a lot to talk about here, but so you'll notice on the TX16S, I have the Crossfire, TBS Crossfire micro module. I want to say it's the micro module on here. And that's what I plan on putting on the Zorro, but this one will not fit the micro module. It has to fit the Nano module. I believe it's the Nano module. And that is why I got this TBS Crossfire Retrofit kit from Pyrodrone. Other people sell it as well, but I got this one from Pyrodrone. I also got this transmitter from Pyrodrone as well. I bought it from them. They didn't send it to me. So let's take a quick look at this right here. So here is the Retrofit kit, and so the idea with this is basically you take apart your Crossfire Micro TX, which is what is in the TX16S currently, and then you take it apart and you put the guts inside this little Nano module, and I guess there's a little bit of plugging and playing, or possibly soldering. I think it's plug and play, but I'll probably have a video on how to do that. And then you can put this module and go boop and stick it in there somewhere. How does that work? Something like that. I think it goes in. Yeah, like that. Boom. And something like that. So you have this module sticking out of the back of the transmitter. So that might affect as well how it feels, and of course the weight and the bulk also. But that is the plan. Let's take a look at the TX12. This is the Radiomaster TX12. I got this, I think, a year or two ago. And just to give you another size comparison, there's that. So humongous difference between the TX16S and the TX12. And I really like the small form factor of the TX12, honestly. I really do. It's simple. It's easy. I like the switch layout. I think I like the switch layout. It's not too bad. I don't care for these potentiometers. Anyway, that's beside the point. But this is also running OpenTX. We have a small screen, just like, so very similar to this one. The gimbals are very similar. Honestly, they probably just reused like a lot of the same, like parts or design of it, I guess. Anyway, these I would say are really in kind of the same like size group. There is a bit of a difference, but like overall, I feel like they're basically the same size. The form factor is different, but when you take into consideration this one, the TX12 has the screen down low, and then the Zorro has the screen up high, and so moving the screen up high kind of causes it to be a little bit taller. The distance between the sticks about 3.5 inches or 90 millimeters, and on the TX12 actually about 75 millimeters, right about 3 inches. So it's actually the sticks are quite a bit closer together on the TX12. So overall, I do feel like the TX12 is more compact, like in total, especially because it's not a weird shape. It's like pretty much a basic block type shape, whereas the Zorro is it's got some of these curves and it kind of sticks out in certain areas, and it's got the screen on the top. So I would say not as compact. That's what I would say. But okay, yeah. Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, so definitely feeling this from like a thumbs perspective, just using my thumbs. The Zorro is way more comfortable. Like it's so much more natural. To do that, it's like a game controller. People have been doing that for a long time. This one, it just feels like I have kind of larger hands, so I feel like I don't have as much space to put my hands. It's not awful, but and I don't think you're gonna run into any problems unless you have gigantic hands. I don't think you're gonna run into any problems where these sticks are coming so close together that you're gonna bump into your other stick or your other hand. One difference is with the TX12, there is a full-size module bay, or for like the Crossfire Micro TX. So which is kind of the older style, or kind of the larger style now, just because they as time goes on, things get smaller. But if you want that larger size module bay, that might be a better option. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not include the good old-fashioned Flysky FS-i6X. Wow, it makes me realize that the Flysky i6X is like super wide. It's crazy wide. Really, really wide. I still like how thin this is. This is such a thin radio, and I really don't mind it. But just to give you an idea of the kind of the thickness difference there. So performance-wise, this is not a good comparison because we're talking about, a different kind of a different use case. This is a nicer radio. This is a more budget radio. There's about a $50 difference between these radios. So depending on how you look at it, you could say, oh my gosh, I'd obviously go for the Radiomaster. But at the same time, if you only have like $50 to spend, then the Flysky is still a great radio as long as you just want to use Flysky. The Flysky protocol. The Zorro here, this one is for ELRS or Express LRS, which is a new up-and-coming open source protocol, which sounds very interesting. So let me talk about that for a second. Okay, so here's the funny thing about when I received the Radiomaster Zorro. I saw on the box that it says the ELRS version, and I thought, oh no, Pyrodrone sent me the wrong one. They're so dumb. But no, it turns out I was the one who was dumb because I had ordered the ELRS version without realizing that that's what it was. I don't know what it was. I was looking at a bunch of different websites, and I thought this was the 4-in-1 version, and that's the version that I wanted to get. 4-in-1 meaning it has like the 4-in-1 multi-protocol chip on board, and then there's the CC2500 chip, and I wanted the 4-in-1 because I knew that would work with Flysky receivers, and I have a bunch of Flysky receivers, and so I was almost thinking, maybe I'll just send this one back. But thing is that it's really hard to get these as it is, and I think I don't want to send it back now. I want to try it out and see if it's even worth getting the 4-in-1 module. But then I thought to myself, well, Express LRS is like the next big up-and-coming thing, and people are talking about it replacing even Crossfire, and that it can be just as good as Crossfire at significantly less cost. And the receivers are super tiny, so you could use an ELRS receiver in a tiny whoop, like a super small quads and planes. So I'm like, well, shoot, maybe ELRS is the next thing to just switch over to. And either way, I was going to plan on using the Crossfire module on this transmitter, even if I got the 4-in-1 version. So either way, I'm still going to be using Crossfire. And realistically, most of the stuff that I fly right now, like all of my quads that I fly, use Crossfire receivers, Crossfire Nano receivers. So realistically, that wouldn't affect me too much because, the benefit of having a 4-in-1 or a multi-protocol chip is you can fly all kinds of different aircraft, from toy like Walkera or Hubsan or Flysky or Spectrum or different all kinds of different brands of receivers, kind of depending on which chip you get. Which I don't know why they don't just combine the chips. I'm sure there's some sort of technical reason for that, but the reality is, I just don't do that very often. And it's not usually too big of a deal if I'm going to be flying a little toy drone that I just use a different transmitter. For example, if I'm going to fly, Flysky stuff, I have some builds right now, just kind of fun, for fun experimental builds. I wouldn't really mind flying, having to use the Flysky receiver. Now it could be a pain if, let's say, I'm going somewhere, I'm traveling or I'm on a trip, or maybe let's say I'm at Flight Fest and I want to fly a bunch of different things. I want to fly quads or planes or whatever, and I don't want to have to carry 2 transmitters with me because that's kind of ridiculous. So then I thought, well, shoot, then I can just get a external 4-in-1 module and then just swap out the modules if I really have to. But that's only if, because mainly it would be Flysky what I would be using, for planes and stuff, because I have a bunch of those receivers. So really, I'd just be swapping out a 4-in-1 module if I was going to be using the Flysky AFHES2A protocol. But at this point in my life and my RC journey, I might just switch over to ELRS because it's cheap enough that I could make that transition, and it would be an improvement. At least my understanding is it would be an improvement over for example, the Flysky transmitter protocols that I have been using. So basically now I'm thinking like, well shoot, maybe it's time to kind of like transition away from Flysky and then, I don't know, give that stuff away to somebody who's getting into the hobby, and then switch over to ELRS, which this transmitter it already has built in, which is cool. And then I can just use my Crossfire module on the back for any Crossfire receivers that I have. And to be completely honest, I still trust the TBS Crossfire modules more than I do ELRS. Now, I haven't ever tested ELRS, and again, it's Express LRS is the full name for it. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure, but I know that, you know, TBS has a great track record, so it's kind of like, you know, they're proven, and that's part of why they cost so much. But you know, eventually, once I do start using ELRS, maybe I will trust it enough to just use that instead of Crossfire as well. But anyway, so those are just kind of my thoughts. Maybe you were kind of in the same boat and thinking about that. So it turns out that I got this radio with the ELRS by accident, but I'm thinking maybe it's just time to switch over to that anyway. Anyway, we will see how all of that goes. Stay tuned. Leave your comments or questions down below about this transmitter or anything else. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep flying, and goodbye.
We get bars in our goggles.